Hello, and welcome to another episode of Last Week Beyond Earth. I'm your host, Zach, and as you can see, today I'm flying solo. Hopefully next week we'll see David again. Today's episode covers launch contracts, launch vehicle testing, and layoffs at JPL. We're kicking things off with announcements from Blue Origin and Rocket Lab that they have picked up launch contracts for their new vehicles, the New Glenn and Neutron respectively. Both of these vehicles haven't yet had a launch. The Blue Origin contract is with AST Space Mobile, a company that is looking to make a space-based cellular network. The service would work with smartphones and be able to switch between Earth-based cell phone towers and the space-based satellites based on the cell phone's location and coverage. The contract will see Blue Origin launch a constellation of satellites into low Earth orbit. These launches would take off from Launch Complex 36 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. The contract will see launches conducted over several years. Rocket Lab announced their first customer for their Neutron rocket. This customer was not named directly, instead being described as a confidential commercial satellite constellation operator. Under the contract, Rocket Lab will conduct 2 dedicated launches, which will start sometime in mid-2026. The Neutron rockets will launch from the company's Launch Complex 3, located at Wallops Island, Virginia. Depending on the success of these launches, Rocket Lab could see the contract extended to deploying the entire constellation of satellites. Blue Origin's New Glenn is currently looking at having its maiden flight later this month, though that could slip to early 2025. Rocket Lab's Neutron is looking at a mid-2025 for its maiden flight. The Neutron launch contract wasn't the only contract announced by Rocket Lab. The company also announced that they had received a federal contract worth $8 million. The contract is through the U.S. Air Force Research Laboratory and will focus on the company's Archimedes engine, the engine that will power the Neutron. The agreement will explore digital engineering concepts for the Archimedes engine. Digital engineering is the concept of making computer models of various characteristics of a complex system, such as an engine, and then being able to test those characteristics within a digital environment. The AFRL is looking to use digital engineering as a way to reduce risks, scheduling, and costs on U.S. Space Force programs. The contract could be a path forward for the company to land further national security contracts. Switching over to Japan, commercial launch provider Space One has announced the customers that will be flying on their second rocket launch. Those customers are the Taiwan Space Agency, Space Cubics, TerraSpace, and Lagrapo. Additionally, a 5th customer will be on the flight, but has asked to remain anonymous. Space One will launch the 5 satellites aboard the second flight of their Kairos launch vehicle. That launch will take place on December 14th and will launch from the company's Spaceport Key. The first Kairos launch took place in March of this year and resulted in the loss of a vehicle after it exploded 5 seconds after launch. Another nation joins the growing list of signatories to the Artemis Accords. Denmark has become the 48th nation to sign. The Artemis Accords are a set of principles to help guide the exploration and use of the moon and beyond. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory has announced that they will be laying off roughly 325 employees. The layoffs will affect all departments and is due to financial issues with their budget for fiscal year 2025. The Ariane 6 upper stage has completed acoustic testing. The upper stage was put through various levels of acoustic stress that it will experience when it is launched using its 4-booster configuration. With the completion of this test, the 4-booster configuration is now ready to begin launching in 2025. Sierra Space has announced the completion of the design review for their missile warning and tracking satellite. The satellite is being developed under the Space Development Agency and is worth $740 million. Sidus Space has announced that they have been selected to design and build the first generation of data storage spacecraft for Lone Star Data Holdings. Sidus will build 6 of these spacecraft, which will be put into orbit around the moon as part of Lone Star's plans to make data storage available at the moon. Finally, the Lunar Surface Innovation Consortium had their fall meeting. The meeting was hosted by the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. The meeting is a 3-day event where various speakers talk about topics related to the development of infrastructure on the lunar surface. Now, we're to the portion of the video where David and I usually discuss what stories were of interest to us. Since I'm the only one here, I guess it's going to be a bit of a one-sided discussion. For me, I liked seeing that both Neutron and New Glenn are already getting customers despite having not launched yet. In that same regard, I like that Space One's Kairos is getting customers even despite their first launch not being successful. And finally, I've been a pretty big fan of the LSIC meetings. I like seeing and hearing about kind of what plans there are for the moon, and the fact that they videotape these live streams and put them up on YouTube so that anyone with an interest can go and watch them. Those are some of the stories that I found of interest. We would, of course, love to hear what you found interesting in the comments. All right, and that's it from me. Please join us next time for more Beyond Earth news. Thanks for watching.